Hey, everybody. Hey. Good day. Good day. I am super excited to be back with you. I'm Dr. Kesslin, host of Doing the Doctorate Podcast. We are in a special series called Doctor in Residence. I truly enjoy hosting this podcast. But before we get too far, I must remind you that we provide support for doctoral pursuers, whether you are dreaming of getting a doctorate, whether you are in a doctoral program, or you're just trying to get some help getting out. The PhD Consultants is here to support you. We provide a number of free resources. All you have to do is follow me. Follow, like, share, subscribe. I am Dr. Kesslin on all social medias, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. You might even find us on TikTok if you look close enough, but we are here. We are here to support you in your doctoral journey. That is our primary focus, and that is what we do. Today, we have a very special program. Have you ever thought about the legacy that you continue? Have you thought about the legacy that you will create through doctoral education? We're talking about legacy today, and I'm super excited that our special guest will be Dr. Lloyd Mallory. Stay tuned. Watch the show. Hey, Dr. Lloyd Mallory.
Dr. Kesslin.
I'm so happy you're here, my friend. Good to have you
here. Thank you.
Good to have you here. So, Doc, we are in a special series, and this special series is we're just interviewing some folk, my friends. I have plenty of doctoral friends. The statistics would suggest that there aren't many of us in the world, and that is true. But I happen to know many doctors, and so I am hosting this show, this podcast, to introduce my friends to the world, so that people can be informed and inspired to pursue doctoral education. So I thank you for being one of my friends. I thank you for being here. I thank you.
I wish this were when I was getting my doctorate. I could have used it. I sure would have taken advantage.
Listen, that is exactly what I say. I wish I had a me.
So happy to be here, honored to be here. Thank you for the opportunity, because I sure could have used this when I was pursuing.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. So I'm just going to jump right in. We have about a 30-minute show. Just going to jump right in and ask you to tell me about your doctoral journey. But wait, before you tell me about your journey, I happen to know that you walk in the footsteps of some very prominent people who left a doctoral impression on the world. So, in your story about your doctoral journey, could you just link us back to the legacy that you are continuing? Could you talk to us about that?
Well, when you say legacy, sure can. I walk in the big footsteps of the short giant, Dr. Nathan Carter, who was at Morgan State for 30 plus years, as he was at Knoxville College for about 8 or 9 years. And he has been hailed one of the greater choral conductors of the 21st century. And so I consider myself his protege. I went to Morgan State. I also was his substitute conductor whenever he needed one when alive. And so he left a huge void in 2004 when he passed rather early in life. He was in his late 60s. We still could have used him for a long while. Absolutely. And then another thing that you don't know, but legacy, I got to serve at Oakwood University as the Aeolians director.
Wait, the world famous Aeolians, yes.
It is famous. In that its creator, Eva B. Dykes, held me as an infant.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
I found out as I was leaving. my mother had pictures. And so in these pictures, my mother is standing right next to her and she's holding me, as an infant. And, you know, less than 30 years later, I am one of the conductors to follow in her great legacy of that ensemble. And I had it
Mm.
for 10 years. And so, in that, the legacy, so I was happy to be able to make some changes and to put some things in place that have changed the trajectory of the music program at Oakwood to this day. So I feel very good about that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So tell us about your doctoral journey. What influenced you to get a doctoral degree, and how you took an arduous path in your doctoral journey. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but tell us about your doctoral journey. How did it start?
Dr. Carter encouraged me. He said I was capable, and I had gotten the call to go to Oakwood, and I negotiated. I said I would come with my master's degree, but I do want to go get a doctorate. And so they honored that, and I started it at the Cincinnati Conservatory of Music. And having gone to HBCUs, that program as a conservatory was quite intense. Music has come rather easy to me. That did not come easy.
Mm.
The graduate process, the writing style, the amount of work, um, the exposure to composers that I had never heard of, even in Grout. We didn't get there, not at Oakwood, maybe not at
Mhm.
Morgan State. So I took some prereq courses in that area, but I was finding that it was not the best place for me to be. And so Dr. Roy Malcolm at Oakwood, who I considered like a campus dad,
Yes.
um, took me in under his wing. But he strategically, without me knowing, we were on a tour in California, and
Hmm.
he had invited the former director of Ars Nova when he was at Oakwood as the chair. And he was at Oakwood only long enough to finish his terminal degree, and then he left Oakwood. But he came out to an Aeolians concert that I gave at Kansas Avenue Church in Lower California. Did not know he was there. I was
Mm.
doing me. John started
You were
was a
doing
company.
you. You were doing,
I was
and so
doing
those
me.
any of those of you who have seen Dr. Mallory in full regalia, full regalness on the stage, you understand what he was doing him meant.
Yeah.
Go
Well,
ahead. I just
across
had to give you the
across the
prop.
genre, we started out with Lift Every Voice and Sing, and then we did this crazy 9-part God of Our Weary Years that Fred Lamore, who's a jazz
Mhm.
musician, wrote. So we didn't do the normal thing that Roland Carter has in the middle. We did this thing that like Take Six would sing, and then we
Mm.
went back and finished it. And then we did something by we did just the standard, some standard stuff that Jan Robertson would appreciate. And so we crossed the genres. And then by the intermission, we had done some spirituals that tore the house down.
Come
So
on.
at that point, I went to intermission, took the choir out, and we went to change. But he came up and with his wife, who also has a terminal degree at that time too, and made comments that in that stated that he had never heard such a great choral
Oh.
ensemble cross these genres with such integrity and with such vocal ease. And then he was further impressed with the accompanist because his main instrument is piano performance. That's what
Mm.
he his degrees in, and then the conducting degree, and all of his degrees are from Juilliard. So I have the highest regard for him. But to make it short, he offered both John Stoddard and I full scholarships to come to UCLA
Nice.
2001.
Nice.
I did take advantage of that, and I made the move, and I left Oakwood on a study leave And I also asked Oakwood to let me keep my choir so that I could do the degree, because you need a choir to do the degree. And so I'm saying it like that because that did not happen. And
Mm,
so in that, I had to come up with other creative ways to finish the degree, because you need a choir. And you
mm,
can't go to a school and think that you can interrupt the choral activities of that institution with your own needs to fulfill them
mm.
for your own degree.
Yes.
So at that point, because my degree is not choral conducting, my degree is conducting, and that I had podium time, Dr. Kesslin, on orchestra, on wind ensemble, which is the band, and
Mhm.
choir. And then
Mhm.
have to do repertoire that represents graduate study of all three of those ensembles,
Wow.
with conducting technique that each ensemble will be able to take and execute. So for me, I had most experience with choral, but I also played instruments. So I've played in orchestra and band, so I could talk that talk, and I felt very comfortable with that. So I did a recital with the Huntsville Symphony Orchestra and the Lloyd Mallory Singers. I did a recital with the school's orchestra and singers that I got from the school. And then my last recital, I did it with the Aeolians, and I was able to complete my recitals. I'm telling you the easy story, because in that there are dramatic stories in how I got all of these recitals. My last recital, we were under a tornado watch um, at Oakwood, in that we had asked God just to hold the reins
Mm.
so we could get the recital done, because you could hear the sirens all out, while
Mercy.
we're in church doing that. My recital with the Huntsville Symphony Orchestra, I'm flying cross country from California to Maryland, California, Huntsville, California to Atlanta, flying singers in. John Starter is finishing up orchestrations right before we actually are doing the recital for the Huntsville Symphony
Wow.
to sight read. I'm
Wow.
sight read. The formal attires didn't get done right. They didn't fit, so we wore choir robes of the church that we're in. They loaned them to us, so
Mm,
we are
mm.
actually in the church's choir robes on that recital. And then my first recital was some other craziness. So in that, there's just story after story. And every doctoral candidate that you hear my story, you too will have your own story, because you're going to know God got you through. There is
Absolutely.
I take credit that I did this. God got me through, period.
Listen, I happen to, we have been friends for a long time, and I remember that time. I remember, I remember the stories of, and I don't know that I really understood it because I hadn't yet begun my doctoral studies, but I remember the challenges with all of the concerts and finding singers,
Mhm.
and that's not even to, that's not to include the challenges at the university, because there
Yes.
are challenges at universities when you're getting your
Mhm.
degree. And so you had all of those. You had all of those, but
At
yet
all of it.
you made it through.
Mhm.
What would you say, in addition to God,
I
right? What would you say were the elements of support for you that helped you to get through?
The elements of support, of course, were my parents, my mother mainly, and then my father got on board. Um, then Dr. Carter was very
Yeah.
influential. Dr. Carter sent for me one uh, tour. He was on spring tour, and he bought me a ticket, and he kind of tricked me, because he made me feel like I was going to get to sing again and to get to sing with the Morgan Choir. All he wanted me to do is sit on the audience and just boast. Lloyd Mallory out there in the audience. He's at UCLA getting his doctorate in conducted. Former
That
student of
sounds
mine.
like him.
Got it. That's all he wanted to say. But
Yes.
in
Wow.
that, he said, I just need you to come rest. I need you to just come get away,
Yeah.
come rest. And then I need for my students to see you,
Mm.
so you can inspire them to go do great, like you're doing great things, because I'm proud of you. And so he was that person. Dr. Roy Malcolm is another a person of that. And I just knew that for the sake of all the other students that were counting on me and that I had convinced to go into music, uh, whomever they are.
See my
And,
alarm to pick up my children. Sorry.
and even in that, Jason Ferdinand, who has propelled the Aeolians to a higher level, even he, I knew I was carrying the legacy out, but I was the first. So I had Dr. Carter first, then he, then another Jeremy Winston who has his chorale. And even today, they're in Prague right now. I just talked to him the other day. So these gentlemen, as well as others, are out there making great music, making more money than me. But that
So yeah, so far in this current season.
yeah, right in this season they are, but that's getting ready to change. God told me he's getting ready to change that. So I'm looking forward. I didn't tell God how much I want to make. I just said, bless how you want. I'm not putting a limit on it or anything of that nature. But with that, I sojourned first as a person to go into conducting,
Mhm.
and to go to a prominent uh, public white institution. And then I believe I am the first African American male to graduate from UCLA with a doctorate degree in conducting. And it's not choral conducting, it's not orchestral conducting, it's conducting, which means I had podium time with all three ensembles: the wind ensemble, the choral ensemble, and the orchestral ensemble. So I am able to stand up in front of anyone, as well as I am capable of teaching in our schools conducting to those that are doing wind conducting or orchestral conducting or choral conducting.
We're talking about legacy today, and what strikes me is that Dr. Carter was very intentional. He was very intentional. He saw something in you and said, I'm going to not only invest my time, but I'm going to invest my money in this young man because I see greatness in him.
Mhm,
Dr. Carter was very intentional about opening doors for you, right?
mhm,
And there's a difference between mentoring and sponsoring. Mentoring means I'm teaching you, I'm leading the way. A sponsor is the person who sits at the table and
mhm,
open doors for you. Dr. Carter was both of those.
mhm,
And I happen to know, because you are my friend,
mhm,
that you are that to so many other people. And you have been for years. You have been, whether it's feeding the students, giving them money to go buy a suit so they can sing,
sure.
or just mentioning
Mhm,
their names in places and creating places for them, along with teaching them the art and the skill.
mhm.
And so we have now a new legacy in Jeremy Winston and um, Aeolian's director, former director
Jason
Jason
Ferdinand.
Ferdinand. How could I forget Jason Ferdinand? And so, there is something to be said about the legacy of doctoral education and leadership. And leadership. What would you say are some of the points of wisdom that you would leave for a person who's following in your footsteps? You said Dr. Carter's footsteps were large, and they were short.
Mhm.
What did you call him? The short, the
Yeah, he's short in stature, but they got big feet, big
yes,
hands.
yes, yes. You are
Got big,
not short in stature, but
yeah.
what would you pearls of wisdom would you leave for those who are following you, who look up to you?
I would ask Dr. Carter questions such as, how do you get your choir to sing like this? Or how do you get them to emote a spiritual that they've not done, or certain things? And he would often say, you just fix until it's fixed.
Mhm.
And that comes with a whole lot of other things, because you fixed, what do you mean fix until you fixed? What do you know to fix? but sitting under him was like sitting at the feet of Jesus. You know,
Mm,
people would just love to sit at the feet of Jesus and listen to him talk, because what he was saying was so different, and it was so eloquent, and it was
mhm.
so deep and rich, and it drew you in. He drew you in.
Yes, he
You
did.
were exhausted. He married a beautiful woman just as capable as he. So she too
Mm,
has poured into me as my vocal coach for 20 years. And
wow.
so iron sharpens iron. I believe he was who he was because of the wings beneath his wings with that great woman she is. She's
Mhm.
currently still alive. But in that, I would say to others, um, learn what you need to learn so you can fix what you need to fix. One. Number two,
Hold
be,
on.
oh,
That was good. Learn what you need to learn so you can fix what you need to fix. You're in music area. I'm in social work, but the same lesson applies.
mhm.
Learn what you need to learn. Get the degree. Learn it so you can fix what needs to be
Because you can
fixed.
go
That's a
anywhere
good
and
word.
you can go anywhere and be of service. Everywhere I have gone, I have a god brother, and he said to me, he said, everywhere you've gone, you've been overqualified. He said, everywhere you've gone, Lloyd Mallory, you have been overqualified. God's getting ready to change that, that you're going to go somewhere where you're not going to be tolerated, but you'll be respected. But
Mm,
overqualified and going somewhere and be able to fix, to make difference, to make it work, to make it
yes.
better. So
Yes.
in places that I've gone, I made it better. Pine Forge Academy, which is one of the two Black-owned boarding academies in our United States. I created a music diploma there where our young people can come there and get a high school education, but also can study music and be prepared to go into music. And so that they get two diplomas. And so I
Mhm.
again was a part of that because I had a student that graduated that performed his recital, studied flute, and I taught him flute and was able to do that at Oakwood. We changed it from it being a churchy choir to now you've got the Aeolians that are recognized worldwide now
Absolutely.
because of the legacy begun and then carried forth by Dr. Jason Ferdinand, who had the correct supporters that had deep
Yeah.
pockets that could
Yes.
make what needed to happen because it was started when I was there. And in that, if we couldn't afford to do it, we did what we could, but he could afford it because he had those deep pockets. Hence, it propelled him forward to now he is back at his alma mater teaching as professor there at the University of Maryland. So you get what
Mhm.
you get, you learn what you learn so that you can make the differences that are necessary to make. And
Yeah.
music is everywhere. Everybody wants music, but nobody knows necessarily how to get the excellence from music that they perhaps may want to experience. So for me, um, I'm glad I had the teachers that I had. At UCLA, I had again Donald Newen, who does not hold a doctorate, but he is deemed the dean of of
Mhm.
conducting, in that he
Wow.
studied with the late, uh, oh help me God, um, in Atlanta, Georgia. Um, that great conductor, he will come to me, shame on me, but he studied with one of the great conductors in Atlanta that I should know, but I'm having a blank right now. But he's also deemed as one of the great conductors of the 21st century. So I
Mm.
have been able to have that opportunity to study with some great conductors of this century um, that have poured into me. And so whatever I didn't get from Dr. Carter, I got from Donald Newen that filled in the dots. And so for that, I'm grateful. And I'm going to think of that great conductor, why I cannot think of his name right now. But those that may watch this that know music, you know who I'm talking about, was in Atlanta over the orchestra and chorus
It,
for
it
years.
it'll hit you when you least expect to.
Mhm.
So, in terms of pearls of wisdom, Learn what you need to learn so you can serve, right? How you want to serve.
Mm-hmm.
Two,
Mm-hmm.
I heard you say, and not in these words, but sit at the feet of the greats. Learn from the greats. All of
Yeah.
us need support. There are people who are here to help us. Learn from them. Any other words of wisdom? Those are good. Those are really good.
Want to express that don't change who the
Mm,
essence of I am. I've been encouraged to not change. The doctorate changes you because you go through this process of tearing down and building back up, um, going through a process of fire so that you come out as a diamond, purified and um, all of that. But in the essence of who you are, don't change. And
mm,
I have experienced many people that change and they don't have any degree, but they just change because they want to be accepted by people. They change because they want what they want, et cetera, et cetera. At the core of who I am is um, I want to be balanced. At the core of who I am, I want to be a servant to my musicians, whomever they are. So you're correct. Cut of that cloth of Nathan Carter. You need a suit. I can't tell you go get a suit if I'm not gonna help you get the suit
right.
or get the gown or get your hair done. I've done all of that. Go get your hair done. I
You
can't tell you
have.
get
I'm a
your
witness. You have.
hair done for the camera. We're gonna be on. That was the other thing that we were being recorded that day that Dr. Robertson saw us and heard us, and I had a soloist that wanted to wear Mickey Mouse, um, in the
Ears.
choir. Will not wear Mickey Mouse. You're not doing it. Not. And we had war. I mean, she wanted her hair natural. I'm wearing my hair. I don't want a perm. I don't care if you get a perm, but you're not wearing Mickey Mouse ears. I took her to some Dominican lady in California. They did her hair, and if you were to see the cars, you do see her singing, and she just constantly flipping her hair. It's just, but to this day, she's a recording artist over in
Wow.
Bermuda.
Wow.
Remembers that kindness
Wow.
that changed her life because she was like, you not only demanded I do something, you actually
Help.
gave it to me, and you allowed me to have input because
Mm.
I said you can get it however done you want. I just need it done. So tell the lady what you want done. I just need it done. Same thing with the suit. Let's get a suit. We're gonna get a name brand suit that you can wear over and over again. That's your business or whatever, blah blah. But stay true to yourself. I
Mhm.
don't feel that one needs to lose their identity
Mhm.
and process, even though you might feel that you are. At the core, who God made you, remain there. Get what you've got to get so that you can do what you've got to do to make the difference, but remain who you are. Because
Mm.
at the core of who we
Wow.
are, we want to remain.
Yes. I'm taking my notes. I gotta remember, remain who you are, get what you gotta get, and sit at the feet of the greats.
Hmm.
Oh, that's good stuff. That's good stuff.
Robert Shaw. His
What's his
name is
name?
Robert Shaw, the great late Robert Shaw.
Robert Shaw.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, I met
Yeah.
him. And so in that, my former teacher is a protege of Robert Shaw.
Wow.
Hmm.
And anyone who's ever played, especially church music, well, play for me, sing,
Hmm.
you know that name, Robert Shaw. Yeah.
Robert
Another
Shaw.
another great. Another
Great,
great.
and
Wow.
a lover of great singers, and has
Wow.
launched many careers of great singers, including African Americans. Marietta Simpson is out there because of him. Janice Chandler Ateme is out there because of him, and there are others. But in meeting him, the reason why I say don't change, because he would tell me, he said Janice Chandler was singing the Brahms Requiem, and he says Janice doesn't know that Brahms wrote that with her in mind. He heard
Wow.
Janice's chords some 100 years later singing this.
Wow.
And so for a great state, that statement stayed with me. But at the core of who we are, we cannot let the process of getting another degree change us. It's to grow us. And
That's
so in that,
awesome.
allow it to make
Mm.
us better people, not worse people, but better people. And so I feel the process has made me a better person in many
It
ways.
absolutely.
Mhm.
You know, I am honored, Dr. Mallory, to know you as my friend
Yes,
and
I
to
am.
know you as my colleague.
Mhm.
You truly are who you are. You have served since day one. You continue to serve, and now people are sitting at your great feet. And so
Mhm.
I just thank you. I thank you for spending the time with us to pour into some doctors. I thank you for being our doctor in residence
Thank you.
on this special session of doing the Doctorate Podcast. I wouldn't have done this without you. So thank you, and
Thank
thank you for
you.
inspiring
Yes,
me
thank
through
you.
my doctoral journey. Thank
Praise
you.
God.
Thank
Yes,
you.
thank
Thank you.
you. Thank you.
Well, everybody, that wraps up our show for today. It's been another great discussion with our doctor in residence today, featuring Dr. Lloyd Mallory. I'm Dr. Kesslin Braid Stennis, and I am just thankful that you are here. Continue in the process. It is so important that you continue in your doctoral journey. The doctoral degree, it's not merely a degree of intelligence, it is a degree of persistence. And we are here to help you persist. Follow us, like, share. Let somebody know we're here who needs some encouragement. Go to the website www.drkesslin.com to get our free resource that's there. But there's also some other information that's there. We are here to support you along your doctoral journey. Why? Because your research matters. Thank you so much, everybody. I'll talk to you soon. Love you, mom and daddy. Bye bye.